Good morning. I'm Lilly, and I'm the 2010 ACTFL National Language Teacher of the Year. And I'm very excited to be with you and talking about something that's very close to my heart today. Hitting the reset button. Gosh, that's something I know a lot about. In the past 18 months, I have been on an incredible roller coaster ride in my personal and professional life. During that time, I made what was taking a long time to get to there, but the difficult decision to end a marriage. I changed my place of residence, not once, but twice. I also decided to retire after 25 years in the public school system in order to do some rewirement. I will be back with education. Just need a little breather right now for some of the soul resting and getting myself in a good place. And then very unexpectedly, I met along this journey the love of my life. And I very confidently married him 1 month ago in the backyard of our house on a gorgeous October day. Thank you. It's been an incredible journey, and along the way, I was eating stress with my Cheerios for breakfast. But I can tell you that change, although it is difficult, although it is full of stress, it didn't kill me. In fact, I stand before you stronger, more confident, and far happier than I ever have been in my life. Now, I share my personal journey with you, not because I'm encouraging you to make such radical changes, especially in such a short amount of time, but I think I've learned a lot of things along the way, and I've had a lot of thinking about what it is to face and embrace change rather than fear it. And I've also been struck by some conversations that I've had with friends, teaching friends, and former colleagues. And regularly, they're telling me how they feel powerless in their current teaching situation. And that bothers me. It bothers me because they're friends of mine, they're people that matter, and I hate to see them having any troubles at all. But it also bothers me because we know that powerlessness leads to burnout. And burnout is one of the big reasons why people leave a profession long before they ever get to the stage that they can think about retirement or rewirement. And it bothers me also in this climate that we have of severe teacher shortages, particularly with world language teachers, because we don't have a ready pool of applicants to come in and take those spots if people prematurely leave our profession. So, having become something of an expert on change during this last few months, I thought today I'd like to explore some ideas with you about what change is in the lives of educators. We should probably think first of all about why people fear change. And often there are people who don't fear change at all because they're oblivious to it. They don't understand that it might be good to change some of their practices. It might be good to be looking at some new ideas that are coming down the pike. It's just easier to stay in that bubble and not move at all. That's probably the worst place to be. And then there are people who don't fear change because they're totally resisting it. They've been around long enough of a time to see that a lot of different types of plans and things don't work out, that there's our initiatives to make change happen, and it never goes anywhere. So they just take on the mantra that, oh, I'll just wait this out. This too shall pass. And those can be very difficult people with whom to work. You may know some of those people in your working professional life. And then we have the people who fear change because they may be losing out on their status that they've worked a long time to build. They may fear losing out on their resources, that again, they've tried to get that best classroom, they've tried to get the upper level classes, they've worked really hard to get things to bend their way, and they're not always very flexible. But I think for most teachers, we fear change or we're resistant to it because it's a loss in our expertise. We're used to functioning at a certain level, and when we take on change, we lose some of that. It's harder, we struggle a little bit, we're challenged. And yet our students need to see us as people who embrace change. They need to see us as people with a growth mindset. That's part of that resiliency that is so important. If they don't ever see the struggle, it's going to be very hard for them to embrace it in their own lives. So if nothing else, we can do it for our own students. So some reasons about why change is a hard thing. But resetting is an important thing for us to do, to find that places where we look at new challenges and opportunities in our lives, and to take that opportunity to think about what it is that you want in your own life, what it is that you want in your career. Before you ever hit the reset button, that's an important first step, to really sit down and think about it. What is it that I want? What are my hopes, my dreams, not only in my personal life, in my professional life, and what's that going to look like? That's your vision for your own career, for your own life, not the expectations that other people have for you, not the dreams that other people have, but it's your own vision. And once you've got those ideas, then write it down. The NFL Hall of Famer, Emmitt Smith, playing for the Dallas Cowboys, their linebacker, he's famous for writing things down because he says, a dream is just a dream if you don't write it down. But once you get it on paper, a dream turns into a goal. And goals have a funny way of getting done once they've been written down. I believe in that. Early in the summer of 2016, I wrote a letter to myself. And I wrote a letter thinking about what I wanted 1 year from that point to look like. And I thought through all the things that mattered to me, that vision that I wanted for my own life. And I set it aside. I came back to it 1 year later. I actually read it just a few days before this convention as well. Amazing stuff. It really works. And it's that sense of taking things from that dream world to that inaction step, to thinking about how I really can move things forward. Another idea that I came across, I haven't tried it yet, but I will. It's changing your keywords, your passwords on your computers, the ones that I always have trouble remembering. And the suggestion was, make those passwords be things that help you envision what your dream is, what your plan is for your life. Make those be words that every time you type them in, that's a reminder to yourself about what it is that you're trying to target. Really good stuff. So there you are. Now you're ready to hit the reset button to move on. And I think it's a realization that change is always going to be messy. Change is going to be difficult. Change is going to be worth it, though, ultimately in the end. And I think in education right now, we are in such a time of massive change, but it's an exciting time. And it's looking at research that shows us what it is to help our kids move forward with proficiency, what it is that research is telling about how the brain acquires language, all the things that help us to be better colleagues to one another. It's a fascinating time to be in education. It's a fascinating time to be thinking about change. It's a time to not be resisting it. It's a time to be an agent of change and not a reactionary to it. So as you think about hitting that reset button in your own life, I'd also ask you to think about finding people who can be your supports. I think that's critical. You've got to have people who can help stand with you, to help you on your journey of change, people who can help you decide what it is to get forward, to get past some of the hard bumps in the road. Those people may be in your department. They may not be. They may be somebody outside your department, within your school itself, to find those people to help and seek them out so that you can talk with them. It may be, though, that you don't have those voices in your school. And I've often been in settings where sometimes it's hard to find those supportive people. You find that outside through our professional learning networks on the internet. You have come to ACTFL and you have seen all kinds of support everywhere that we have. It also exists with your state organizations, your regional organizations. There are people there that are happy to support and work with you all along the way. And I would also urge you to be that person for someone else in your department, in your school, someone who's needing that support, that pat on the back, that encouragement to embrace those hard changes, to not be that critical voice, but to be that voice of support that they desperately need. So, as I've become somewhat of an expert on change, I came across this quote that I thought was just wonderful. It takes a lot of courage to release the familiar and the seemingly secure to embrace the new. But there's no real security in what's no longer meaningful. There is more security in the adventurous and the exciting. For in movement, there's life, and in change, there is power. And I love that. And I think to just bring it all down to 3 simple ideas, courage will lead to change, and change will take away those feelings of powerlessness and give you the power and the direction that you're looking for in your own life to become that agent of change, to take things from being dreams, to make them into goals, to make them into reality. Thank you.